Holy cow, I cannot believe that this game has been out for over a month already. I guess time really does fly when you're having fun. Which is actually a good touch point to start this review off on. Fun. Because Donkey Kong Bananza is a hell of a lot of fun. From the opening tutorial where it just says punch, and then you punch the hell out of everything for the next 40 or so hours depending on how much side content you want to do, the whole time you'll likely be enjoying yourself. And at the end of the day, that's truly what video games are supposed to be about. Having fun. I grew up playing games like Mario 64 and Mario Galaxy and Sunshine, and this game is similar to those in some respects. They all have a pretty middling story, but the true focus of the game is on finding collectibles. Whether it's stars or shines or moons or bananas, it's just a lot of fun to accomplish little tasks or complete objectives to earn a reward. In DK Bananza, there are 777 unique bananas to find and collect, but then you can earn up to 1,000 total bananas if you really want to be a completionist, which is exactly what I did. So I have truly experienced all that this game has to offer, and while I did enjoy what it had to offer, it wasn't without its setbacks, and we will hit on those in this review. So let's start with a very big positive, and that is environmental design. In the marketing and lead up to this game, they talked about the worlds in this game being fully destructible, and they did mean it. I saw a YouTube video where someone destroyed an entire level, and I think it took them close to 16 hours to fully destroy everything. And that was just one level. This game has 16 unique levels, all with unique designs. But the environmental destruction in this game was not overstated. You can smash to your heart's content. And you're often rewarded for doing so, as some bananas are hidden away underground and you may just happen across them by smashing. Or you may also find a fossil while you're smashing away, of which there are hundreds scattered about various levels. So as you're smashing, sometimes you'll find bananas or fossils, but sometimes you'll also just find treasure chests which reward you with a random item. Sometimes it's a balloon, sometimes it's more gold, sometimes it's a drink of apple juice or melon juice, and sometimes it's actually a secret map that shows you the location of a banana or fossil that you haven't found yet. These maps are such a nice quality of life feature. In a game with over 700 bananas to find and just as many fossils, being short one or two to complete a level would be extremely frustrating without these maps. Imagine needing just one more fossil and having to scour the entire map looking for it. That would be boring and tedious and not fun at all. Instead, you can just go to the stuff shop and buy a map and it will indicate where it is for you. And say you didn't want to shell out gold for a map, well, it also keeps an inventory in your collections, so it's really itemized and easy to sort of pinpoint where it might be missing. But back to the maps, I can't stress how much I love this when games do it. Astrobot did it with the little bird that you could activate. So you could only do this after beating the level once, and if you did a thorough enough job, then you would find all the collectibles and not even need to spend money on the bird. But if you did miss something, then you could just load the level back up, and the bird would help guide you to what you missed. You still had to trek through the level and complete the jump puzzle to get what you were missing, but at least you weren't aimlessly searching. Same goes for DK Bananza. I would complete the whole level as thoroughly as possible and usually only be one or two bananas and fossils short. Because I was so thorough, I would often have a surplus of gold from all my digging, so then I could just shell out a bit of gold for some maps and then pick up what I missed and move on to the next area. Now, if you're someone that just plays the game and blitzes through the main story, then this will be less beneficial. You can just do the bare minimum and move on to the next level, but the cost to buy like 30 maps would be very steep. But for someone who likes to fully complete a level before moving on, this feature was a godsend. But say you did just mainline the story, then you could always just accumulate gold throughout your playthrough and then go back to the levels and search for stuff and then just buy maps to find what you missed. And again, this is great because it gives the player agency. Yes, I like to fully complete a level before moving on, but some people just want to get done with the main story and then just explore afterwards. And the beauty of DK Bananza is you can do either. This game doesn't force you to find a certain amount of bananas to move on to the next thing. Yes, there are a few quest lines because you have to talk to the elders in each area and unlock the skills that they give you. But for the most part, this game gives you free reign to just play how you want. So I did mention the story, so let's talk about it briefly. Like most Nintendo games, I don't care much about the story. But basically, the evil Void Co has stolen all the bananas and we have to venture to the planet's core in the middle of the Earth to retrieve them all. Along the way, we meet up with 5 elders who grant us unique abilities that help us through their particular level. You have an ostrich, which allows you to fly, a zebra, which can run across crumbling platforms, an elephant to suck up terrain, a snake, which can freeze time and jump really high, and a super Donkey Kong, which punches really hard. They're all fun abilities that augment your gameplay and allow you to beat the levels that you find them in. And then in the post-game, there are some pretty difficult challenges that require you to use all of these in tandem to get through to the end and earn your banana. I loved Mario Wonder for how often it shook up the sandbox and taught you new abilities, and while this game isn't on that level, the different abilities are all very fun to use. They all have an upgrade path that allows you to level them up to be even stronger, which is cool. I always enjoy build crafting, no matter how minor. However, this upgrade path is poorly tuned in my opinion. I think the costs are a little out of whack. Like, I get why the developers did it this way, but I just don't really agree with the design choice. So to fully level everything, I think it should not cost more skill points than 155. This is because if you earn all 777 bananas in the game, you get 155 skill points. Some bananas you find are worth 3 and others 5, so if you wanted to increase it to be like 800 bananas or 160 skill points, fine. But as it is right now, it is 200 skill points to fully upgrade the skill tree, which is 1,000 bananas, which is every single banana in the game. So why does this suck? Well, because for me personally, when I fully beat a game, as in find every single banana and fossil, then I feel like I should be done. But unfortunately, thanks to this tuning, I had to farm Banandium chips for close to 3 hours to be able to buy bananas at the chip exchange. So then once I reached 1,000 total bananas, then I had the skills fully upgraded. Spoiler alert, you also get a neat little Donkey Kong head on your balloon once you fully upgrade every skill. And that is the true endgame of Donkey Kong Bananza, finding 1,000 total bananas, which is more than every banana in the game. Again, I respect Nintendo's design choice here and I understand what they were going for, but for me personally, I just didn't really vibe with it. As I said, when I got that 777th banana, that is when I felt like I was truly done with the game. So it sort of soured my experience at the very end to just have to go farm this one mission over and over and over again to get a bunch of Banandium chips to spend at the chip exchange to get 1,000 total bananas and then be done. But that's a pretty minor gripe, all things considered. So I mentioned for the story that you're digging your way down to the center of the earth trying to get all the bananas back and stop Voidco. Well, there are 16 layers, and within those layers are sub-layers, and each layer is a unique biome. I really liked the worlds that they crafted here. You have the classic ice and forest levels, the water level, you have a beach level, which I'm actually really fond of. I just love the vibes of that place. But then you have some very unique ones like the racing layer, or the feast layer, or the forbidden layer. They all have good atmosphere to them, and they all have unique terrain challenges to overcome. I just really liked the levels in this game, and I thought they were very well done. There's 16 unique ones in total, and as I said, with all the destruction elements in the game, I am sure it took a ton of time and care and attention to craft that many. I am really impressed with just how much this game offered. 120 stars was standard for the early 3D Mario games, and then Odyssey went crazy with like 836 unique moons, and DK Bananza is right in line with Odyssey in that regard. It's a pretty meaty game. But back to the levels, while they look really nice, I didn't really vibe with the soundtrack in this game. I do like some of the songs where Pauline sings, the vocal songs are quite good, and the songs that play while you're in your DK Bananza form are pretty catchy as well. But outside of those, when you're just playing the regular levels, I found the soundtrack underwhelming. But again, that's just personal preference. And as I said, the actual design of the levels was magnificent. Most of their time and attention definitely went into the sandbox and level design, I believe, and honestly, that's for the best. That is what makes this game so enjoyable. Figuring out what skill to use or how to manipulate the terrain to get a banana. I loved the puzzle solving in this game, and for a kid's game, I think it was just right. I was never stumped on anything for really more than like 5 or 10 minutes. There were a couple challenging destruction missions that definitely took me a few tries to optimize so that I could beat it with more than 20 seconds left, which gives you a bonus banana. But for kids or people new to video games, some of these could be pretty tricky to solve. But where time went less into was definitely boss design. Again, this isn't a huge deal in my opinion because I prefer just getting the bananas and exploring the entirety of each level. But yeah, the bosses were pretty damn mid in this game. That being said, the final boss fight was quite cool and I quite liked it. But holy hell, when you make a bunch of gold and destroy it, which happens a lot on the final boss fight, your frame rates would tank tremendously. I know the Switch 2 is a $450 handheld and not a high-end PC, so I'm not going to be too harsh on this aspect, but yeah, this game will get crazy frame drops at times. Another thing that is less than ideal is the camera jank. Because you're often destroying tons of terrain and burrowing deep underground, the camera can really get lost in the sauce at times. You do get used to this, and there isn't a lot that the developers could do to mitigate it because of how the game is designed, but I figured it's worth mentioning. But something that I really disliked was the control jank. The post-game challenges can be somewhat difficult, and I took damage or lost a life a few times thanks to the controls just being whack. Again, this is a minor nitpick, and I don't think it's a skill issue on my behalf, but sometimes the game would just go janky on me and not do the input that I wanted because DK may be like a centimeter off the ground or something, or just something physics related usually. It was most noticeable with the snake skill since it bounces up and down, but even throwing things sometimes, you'd catch a lip on something even though your reticle is showing that you're definitely clearing it. Or trying to turn around a wall but you just end up falling. Just lots of little things that would just be a little annoying, but never so game-breaking that it really kept you from beating anything that the game had to offer. But those are the majority of my nitpicks. Just a bit of janky controls at times and poor balancing for the skill tree and mid-boss designs. The level design though, top tier. The bananas, super fun to get. And that is what you're interacting the most with in this game, so yeah, I think they put their time and attention in the right places. The story was fine, but I'm not a story guy at all, so I don't really care. But Pauline is quite cute. I like the relationship between her and DK. It's neat that she has an actual voice and dialogue, which is a rarity from Nintendo. I like how she would always talk to DK as you fall asleep. Like I said, it was a cute relationship and really endearing.
Hey, DK, are you awake? What do you think the fractones eat? Their bodies are like rocks, so maybe they eat crystals or something? Well, I'd never eat a crystal down here. It might turn out to be someone's great-great-grandparent. Good night.
The NPC characters are funny for a kid's game. The zebras are all like, bruh. And the 5 elders are all DJs, which I thought was funny, but fits with the musical themes of the story, which you will see. The challenge in the game is perfect, I think. Easy for a veteran of this genre like me, but would definitely be challenging for newcomers and children. Overall, it was a really good game. The gameplay is super fun, and that is most important for a game like this. It had some unique and interesting and at times tricky puzzles to solve, and the post-game boss rush and traversal challenges offer some pretty decent difficulty to really test everything that you had learned through your playthrough. I loved the quality of life of those maps that you can buy, and I didn't mention it, but the sonar ability was also extremely helpful at times. That should be the first thing you focus on upgrading when you start the game. But that's about all I really have to say on it. That's my review for DK Bananza. It's pretty much what we've come to expect from Nintendo, a very high quality and well polished experience that delivers hours of fun gameplay. Let me know how you like the game down below. For my taste and preferences, it's not Game of the Year for me, but I do think it is a very good game, and honestly, I liked it better than Mario Kart World. If you're still here, thanks so much for watching to the end. Come check me out on Twitch at itsdizzle7 if you want to see me play games live. Check out the Discord if you want to chat about games, and lastly, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you're still here, then I appreciate you watching to the end, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.